On this week's episode of the WNP podcast, we discuss the terrible coaching that has plagued the NFL and make our locks of the week. Stay tuned. Episode 117 of the We're Not Professionals podcast. Chase, I know you want to hop in. Just go ahead, start singing with the song. I know you want to.
I'm doing swell. Thank you for asking. Now I can talk. I do enjoy both of our new intros for both our shows. They are vibes, that's for sure.
Absolutely. On this show, we're going to be talking about the Jon Gruden situation. Going to be talking this past week of games, including the terrible coaching that has happened thus far. Going to be talking about QBs that have impressed, Lions, Bengals, and then finishing with our locks. But before we hop into all that, Chase, I have to ask. You are Mr. Carolina number 5, Buffalo number 6.
Oh, I thought you were going to say Mr. Brightside.
Carolina loses yet again. Buffalo kicks the shit out of Kansas City. Are you just not a Josh Allen guy anymore? You're not a big fan of Buffalo? Like, what's happened? My dad told me to reach out to you and say, hey, I get it. All Buffalo fans, they have this wariness around the team itself. When they start to do good, you know you're just going to get your heart broken. Is that what is happening with you right now, or are you just no longer a Bills fan?
Well, if I could do power rankings every week on the show, I'd have different power rankings this week.
Oh,
it's power rankings for a reason, you know. You can do them weekly, bi-weekly, quarterly, monthly, season long. You can do all these different power rankings. We do them, quarterly.
Yeah.
And which I like. I don't like doing them every weekend because like it's just it's just I don't know, for whatever reason.
Much.
Yeah, I like it better. Anyway, but if we were doing it this week, it'd be different. Not that I was like skeptical of the Bills. It's just like
seem pretty skeptical.
It's just like the Bills like to get on these hot streaks and then get on these cold streaks. So I really had to see them do it to once they could do it to the Chiefs, then I'd feel better about it. And they officially did do it to the Chiefs, so I feel a lot better about them. They are now in my top 3, and they're not 3.
Well, 3 different teams have done it to the Chiefs already this year.
Yeah,
so,
I know, but still, it's like offensively and defensively they got it done, which is what made me feel good about it.
Also, I was talking to Graham about last show, and he thought it was pretty funny that you had the Panthers over Dallas when your criteria was these are the teams I think could beat the teams below them. He was like, Dallas just beat Carolina. I'm like, I know, I said the same thing. He's like, I just don't get Chase.
Okay, but yeah, the Jags had a win last year. The Jets have 2 wins last year. Like, of course, like you think.
Yeah, but it was within like 2 days that you said Carolina would be above Dallas, and Dallas just came off.
If they played again, I thought Carolina would have won that game like easily.
But then they went and lost to Philly.
Yeah, Sam Darnold looked horrible. He looked absolutely terrible. He looked like New York Jets Sam Darnold. First time all season. We
like to roast Chase in the beginning of the show. It's a lot of fun.
I'm able to defend myself. I got no issue.
But we now move on to roasting someone else, and that would be Jon Gruden. He got a 10-year deal. What was it, 4 or 5 years ago?
2018, I think.
Making, what was it, 50 million?
100 million.
100 million.
10 million a year.
Jeez. And now he is no longer with the Raiders. Came out that he was not being the most kind-hearted soul in emails that spanned across 7 years. I'll be the first to tell you that going back 10 years, going back a decade to search up what someone said and trying to cancel them or ruin their career because of what they said over a decade ago, I hate that so much. I think it's gross. But at the same time, this was happening for over 7 years. At this point, it's a pattern. It's not a one-off. So I think very rightfully so, Jon Gruden needed to go. Jon Gruden is, like, that just speaks to his character. When it's a pattern like that persisted for over 7 years, rightfully, he is gone.
Yeah, and this wasn't like someone looking up Jon Gruden, like, how can we screw with Jon Gruden today? This was a probing into the Washington football team and all the shit that's been going on with them. And, this is just kind of what they uncovered. They found these emails to Washington executives, him making references to people in derogatory terms, racial, sexist, homophobic,
yeah.
Just really the trifecta. And the fact that it did happen so much, it really shows that it just kind of the way he is. There's not really it's not really a whole lot of room for remorse there. So he gets the can. I mean, technically he resigned. I don't know if he'll get his money or not. Who the hell knows? But he is out.
And I love that everyone was bringing up the fact that, like, don't be freaking out about this. Jon Gruden at best was a 500 coach. This isn't a huge, this isn't a Bill Belichick type of thing.
This is a coach that if it wasn't for his contract might have been fired for last season.
Yeah. So, rightfully so he gets fired, but I did want to swing back around to the point of the Washington football team probe. Brett Coleman, he tweeted out, there's over 650,000 emails that they are looking into, yet somehow they have only found stuff on Jon Gruden and Adam Schefter. How has that been the case at this point?
They found stuff on Adam Schefter?
Yeah.
I didn't see that.
I didn't see what it was, but Brett Coleman tweeted that out basically word for word. That how is it that they've only found stuff on Schefter and Gruden?
Yeah, I mean, it is strange. There is definitely there's definitely stuff to be found out there.
Yeah.
So I don't know what the whole dealio is, but yeah, it's not a great look at the NFL right now.
No, it's not. And it continues with other coaching situations that we're going to be talking about here in just a couple of minutes. But first, we got to talk about the kicking. We've seen last year, the year prior, there's been some really bad weeks with kicking. There has been none worse than this week specifically. We've had 16 field goals missed and 13 extra points missed. That is brutal. And that is why people don't think kickers are football players, but rather they say, put the ball in the hands of your quarterback, not your kicker.
I feel like that's got to be something wrong with the NFL balls, because the NFL, they have to kind of pre-approve all these balls. It's not just you hand balls wherever and it's good to go. I feel like there was something wrong with these balls and they just missed it, because there's no way that there's just 29 random missed kicks in a week. I'm sorry, there's just no way, especially with the amount of extra points that are missed too. That was shocking. I really think there's a lot more to it than just the kickers being off. But regardless, you still, even if the balls do suck, you're kicking them in warm-ups. You usually have a feel for it. You got to find a way to work around it.
And the kicking conditions were very good on the most, the most part. They were great. It wasn't like it was December and snow was coming down and
40-mile-an-hour winds.
Right. So it was really bad, and it hurt me specifically being a Bengals fan, because the Packers and the Bengals, they had, I believe it was 5 missed field goals from the 2-minute mark in the fourth onto overtime.
So, yeah, it was bad. Yeah, it was that number. It was really bad. And I feel for you, but do you want to feel worse about yourself?
Sure.
Well, not worse about yourself. You want to feel better about yourself. That's the word I'm going to say. So you can feel worse about myself.
Oh, yeah, I'll feel worse about you.
That is the terminology I wanted to use. So I want to find the exact wording, but it was, a little unideal. So the Detroit Lions, not the Red Wings.
Okay.
Scusa. So, they lose again. Shocker, surprise. Who would have thunk it? Not me. I can't find the tweet, but I remember it pretty much anyway. So what happened is the Lions lost on another game-winning field goal, 56 yards, I think is what it was. I
thought it was only 48.
It was 50+. I know that for a fact.
Yeah, I'm looking it up now.
Okay. Because it was the first time in NFL history that a team has lost 2 games on the last play of the game with a 50+ yard field goal. And then they did it back-to-back weeks. They lost a 66-yarder against the Ravens and a 50+ yarder this week against the Vikings. First time it has ever happened.
Huh. Oh, yeah, it was 54 yards.
That's
there we go.
Just adding to the most Detroit Lions stats ever for the season. Shit just keeps piling up, dude.
Do we want to make it 3?
Make it 3? I don't even care. I don't even care. That I have McPherson in one of my 2 kicker leagues, so why not?
That probably hurt you this past weekend.
I still won.
He probably didn't even have negative points.
He had 0. Exactly.
See, there we go. So, it was a heartbreaking game or week for kickers overall, but even worse, and I got this in my notes real quick. Let me bring this out. I wrote a little synopsis on the whole week overall saying, damn, this week was so mixed. We saw phenomenal play from guys like Herbert and Lamar Jackson. Saw great games that came down to the wire, like the Browns and the Chargers game, like the Bengals and the Green Bay game. I had a really fun fantasy week, too. I only dropped one game, but kicking, absolutely atrocious. Coaching, it might have been even worse. And the reason that I say that is I saw it with the Bengals. I saw it on Monday Night Football with the Indianapolis Colts. There are so many coaches out there that have not progressed into the modern day NFL. There are so many coaches where they'll be on the opponent's 40-yard line, and instead of trying to go for it on 4th and 4, they'll rather just punt it on the opponent's 40-yard line. Don't take the 57-yard field goal. Why do that? Don't go for it on 4th and 4. Why do that? Let's just punt. Let's play conservatively. And conservatism in the modern day NFL only gets you losses. We saw that with Frank Reich and the Indianapolis Colts. We saw it with the Bengals when they punted twice on the opponent's 40-yard line. And then on 3rd and 8, in overtime, on the 40-yard line, they decide to run the ball instead of actually trying to get the first down. Then they're like, okay, McPherson, we'll let you try that 57-yard field goal now that we didn't the first 3 times, and he missed it. So, conservatism is ruining the league right now when it comes to coaching. There are so many coaches out there that are guilty of it, and it needs to be brought up.
Yeah, it's really been a weird year for questionable play calling just all the way around. It really has been. You start with, I'll start with the hometown example, the Detroit Lions. They've been a pretty aggressive team on 4th down, even though they failed a lot. And then, now against the Vikings, they were all of a sudden conservative on 4th down. They weren't going for it anymore. They were punting in plays where they probably should have went for it. And it's kind of what you're talking about. They're going on across the league, and that type of thing's been happening more often. Just player usage around the league's been a little weird too. Like star players like Allen Robinson, he wasn't getting his usage. That play calling was the offense going away from him for some reason. Down in Jacksonville, Taylor Austin had 8 receptions or 8 targets, or whatever the hell it was. It's just all these coaches are scheming up these plays to these these random players. They're making these bad decisions. They're making these bad play calls, running the balls on 3rd and long when you're in winning situation or you need to win situations. It's been really bad this year. I don't know why.
And a decade ago, I get it, because a decade ago the game was defense and the run game. Passing obviously was included. You had some great players like Peyton Manning, Drew Brees, Tom Brady. But nowadays, you've got Lamar Jackson, you still got Aaron Rodgers, Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes. There are so many quarterbacks to name.
Jared Goff.
That
Okay, continue.
I said so many players to name. That is not one of them, Chase. Joe Burrow, there we go. We'll add him. So many good quarterbacks out there that can make a big play. We saw it with Green Bay when the Bengals missed their game-winning field goal with, I think it was only 40 seconds left in regulation. It only took 2 plays for the Packers to get into scoring position. Players are so good now. Quarterbacks are so good now that you cannot be conservative because it can only be 1 or 2 plays, and now you're backed up to your own goal line. You got to be aggressive when you can be, because if you're not, those good players are going to make you pay.
100%. And, I wanted to mention this at some point in the show. I don't know why I'm even bringing it up, but let's talk about it real quick. Joe Burrow, on that play where everyone thought he destroyed his knee again, it was going to be done for the year.
I wasn't afraid of that. I thought it was a concussion.
It was straight to the leg. When he dove?
Yeah, but his legs were up in the air.
Yeah, but still it was right to the leg. It's still a shot right to the knees, enough to get a knee injury.
Yeah, I wasn't worried. If his foot was planted, I was worried, but I thought it was a concussion because he banged his head on the ground.
Regardless, the fact he was just laying there, it wasn't great. Are they not teaching quarterbacks now more than ever with running quarterbacks to slide? Are they not teaching them that? Why is he diving forward? I still see quarterbacks do that across the league. Still see quarterbacks do that in college. Every quarterback, I don't care how much you run, every quarterback needs to be taught in modern day NFL and a modern day football. An essential football mechanic is sliding and avoiding contact, not diving forward, where technically you can they're not supposed to hit you, but the NFL's a lot more lenient when you're diving forward for teams to hit you than when sliding. So you need to figure out that slide so you just minimize that opportunity to get hit.
And I feel like they still do teach that. I am 80% sure that Burrow probably got a talking to when he did that.
Well, he said after the game, Aaron Rodgers went to him and said, hey, dude, you're too good for this slide.
Yeah, you got a couple more years to go.
Yeah.
Calm down the competitive fire that you have to make you just go out there and put your body at risk. But I think that they probably do teach it still. Just players are, kids nowadays, they don't listen.
Kids are like older than us.
Okay, yeah, but I'm talking about like generally.
Yeah, I know.
You don't listen.
I don't listen?
No, I'm a good kid. I listen to my parents, but you don't.
Really? That's interesting to hear.
And we know that the Grams out there, the Cams out there, they don't listen.
Oh my God.
So I'm sure they still teach it. I think the thing they need to teach is actually how to slide. Not that you need to slide.
No, that's what I mean. Like it should be an essential football mechanic of sliding.
Yes, but I'm not talking the point of like actually needing to be able to slide instead of dive. I'm talking the actual way to slide.
Yeah, the mechanic of it.
There is a lot of people out there that like don't know how to actually slide. They attempt to. And I thought that's what you were going with, the attempt.
Are you going
for the attempt of slide or
like both? Like you need to slide, but you need to know how to do it. Like the mechanics of sliding is what you need to know how to do. That's the.
I see a lot of quarterbacks making really bad slides.
Yeah, it does happen. Like I'm saying they need to teach the mechanics of sliding.
Okay.
And I know some NFL teams have done it in the past where they bring in like
baseball
MLB players, baseball players, and like to show them how to properly slide because they know how to do it because it's part of their game. And now that it is part of the football game, it really like needs to be a lot more known. So hopefully down the road we start seeing more guys better at it.
Yeah, we'll see. All right, well, we got to talk about quarterbacks that have impressed. I talked about how coaches, they are holding back these quarterbacks that have special attributes that are able to make them push the ball downfield, and they're rather giving up the ball to other quarterbacks that can do the same. The reason that I put quarterbacks have impressed, I didn't want to give it away yet. I wanted to talk about Patrick Mahomes versus the rest of the NFL landscape. For a while, maybe the last 2 years, we've said Patrick Mahomes, the best quarterback out there. Number one for sure. Then you got your Brady's, your Aaron Rodgers, your Russell Wilsons behind him. Where do you now put Patrick Mahomes? And I know you might think like it's still Patrick Mahomes. He's having a little bit of a rough time right now. He'll be fine. He's going to get back into it. I agree. But with how he's playing right now at this moment, is there a separation between him and Josh Allen? Is there a separation between him and Justin Herbert? How about him and Kyler Murray? So I want to talk about that overall. What are we thinking about quarterbacks? Is there a true number one? Or is there just a lot of quarterbacks that are on this elite level right now?
A 5-game sample of bad play compared to
yes, but how he's playing right now, Chase.
I don't care. Just listen. Compared to a 36-game example of spectacular play is not enough for me to close that gap right now. Like right now he's struggling. Yeah, sure, it happens. Like there's seasons where Tom Brady's thrown 20 interceptions in his career. I don't know, maybe not 20, but I know he's thrown like high teens. Like that should happen. There's seasons where Tom Brady struggles. There's going to be seasons where Patrick Mahomes struggles. He's not going to be able to just dominate the league every year, like regardless. Like you're going to have down games. Your team's going to struggle around. Teams are going to figure out how your game plan is. Like right now, Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce are pretty much being blanketed. Like when you can work the ball to them, you got a lot more opportunity to make those plays. But without them, the talent, like all the other talent on the Chiefs offense is not good enough to like really support Mahomes' like ability to play the game. So he's not able to kind of shine as much as he can, especially when they're getting locked down. So I'm not too concerned about it. You can say the gap is smaller, but the gap's not closed. Like he's still in a tier on his own by me. That next tier is Josh Allen's, Justin Herbert's, Kyler Murray. Tom Brady's still got to be in that range too. And like, there's a lot more quarterbacks in that tier than I think there was before. Like when going into the season, Herbert's really established that he's that dude. Joe Burrow, someone you can even argue in there. Dak, someone who's you can argue is in there. Dak's, just shout out to Dak. He really has become a much better quarterback, I think, than what he was when his first coming into the league. So like, there's a lot more quarterbacks that are fighting for that, and the quarterback play is probably the best it's ever been in the NFL right now. And I don't think it's impossible that gap closes. I like Herbert right now. I think Herbert is the most likely player in the NFL to close that gap because he's still, he's got 21 games played, 19 games played because he didn't play the first 2 games last year. So he's got 19 games played. He has the record for already for 300 passing yard games through your first 2 seasons, and he still has 12 more games this year.
Yeah.
He's setting, like incredible records numbers. Like he's the one that really has the chance to like completely close that gap and join Mahomes in that tier.
Well, what if I told you right now I've got Justin Herbert, Kyler Murray, and Patrick Mahomes in that same exact tier? I know you don't like to hear it because, like you said, that the 36 games don't get nullified by the 5, but at the same time, at least with Justin Herbert, when you look at him, he's never had a bad game yet. He will, I'm sure of it. But as of right now, his career has been phenomenal. His rookie year, he was the best rookie quarterback of all time. He's been performing outstandingly right now. And if we were talking about the MVP race, which we did last week, I think he might take that number 1 spot over Kyler this week.
He very well could. And like Mahomes isn't in the MVP race right now, of course.
Yeah.
Like he's not playing well. But at the end of the day, if I'm still taking one quarterback I trust to win me the game over everybody else, I'm still taking Patrick Mahomes.
If I'm taking a quarterback that I trust to win a game, it's Tom Brady.
Oh yeah.
But
yeah,
if I'm building a future team.
You know what I mean.
Yeah, I get
like
it.
if I'm going to build around somebody, like it's Patrick Mahomes still.
Yeah, I think right now, if I had to choose one quarterback to build around, it would still be Patrick Mahomes. But I think that the gap that you said is still existent. For me, if someone said they're taking Justin Herbert or Kyler Murray over Patrick Mahomes, I wouldn't go crazy. Last year, absolutely I would have.
Yeah, I'm still going to say no. Like now it's like a tier 1 and then tier 2 is those guys where like it was before Mahomes was tier 1 and then the next guys were maybe tier 3 or tier 4. Like there was no tier 2 or tier 3. That's kind of how I was. So now like there's still the separation, but it's definitely closer.
Also, shout out Lamar Jackson. He is a guy that like his rookie year was good. His second year, he won the MVP. His third year, there was a lot of talk on he's got to stop running. He's got to be more of a passer. And that didn't really happen. There was some underestimating him. This year, he has taken that next step as a passer. So I think I was saying in the offseason that Joe Burrow will be the best quarterback in the AFC North. Unless there's some big turnaround where Zach Taylor stops coaching like an absolute moron, I think that Lamar Jackson has that solidified. I think Joe Burrow is still better than Baker Mayfield. Baker Mayfield's been really bad this year, actually. And then Big Ben, I think everyone's seen the regression from him. So I am surprised that Lamar was able to take that next step, but at the same time, very happy about it because that just adds another elite talent at that quarterback position.
I'm not surprised at all because I've been saying for a couple seasons, really, especially when he took over as a starting quarterback and even coming into the NFL a little bit too, like he was always kind of underrated. But he's not like an unreal passer, but he is at worst a league average passer. And everyone's saying, no, he's one of the worst passers in the league. He's just combines this great running ability where you don't know what he's going to do, so he can throw the ball, blah, blah, blah. But no, like if you watch him in college, like he has a strong arm. He can place the ball. It's a little sporadic at times is the only issue, but like he has all the other arm capabilities that any other NFL quarterback does. And he's finally being given the opportunity, being told to throw the ball a little more. And we're seeing the results. He looked fantastic throwing the ball in the second half of that game. Like him and Marquise Brown were just an unreal connection. Mark Andrews in the end zone. Just it was just those three guys were just really working together. And now that he's being allowed to throw the ball, you're really seeing what his true throwing abilities are. And he never really had that opportunity before in the NFL.
And I can't wait for Rashad Bateman to get in there too, because I think so highly of Rashad Bateman. And on Monday night, Lamar Jackson made history. Correct me if I'm wrong, but it was 75% completion, or was it 80% completion with over 400 yards in a game? First quarterback to ever have over 400 with, I think it was 75% completion.
I thought it was 80.
It might be 80.
Regardless,
he made history.
Yeah.
So
that was still great numbers.
And then I want to swing back around to your point. Probably about 3-4 minutes ago, you said this is probably the best quarterbacking we've ever seen in the NFL. Look back to 2016, 2017, and think about where your viewpoint was. For me, at least, I was thinking, when Drew Brees is gone, when Aaron Rodgers is gone, when Tom Brady's gone, what are we going to do? Like, we don't have that quarterback. Carson Wentz looks great. He just came off of a really nice rookie year, but he had a lot of turnovers. Jared Goff, he looked terrible in his rookie year with Jeff Fisher. Now we're here, and it's like, dude, I've got no worry whatsoever with Drew Brees, who just retired. No worry whatsoever when Big Ben and Aaron Rodgers retires. When Tom Brady retires, it's going to be a little bit more meaningful because he's been in the game for so damn long, and he's been the top guy for so damn long. but I'm not worried whatsoever when the old guard passes the shield down to the new guard.
Yeah, I'm not too worried either. It's good that like the quarterbacks have come in and have done as good a job and been as competent as they have, and that this class, even though they are struggling a bit, is still showing as much promise as they do, because they still all show a lot of promise. And if they're not all going to hit, like it'd be very, very shocking. Like it would be probably historical, never happened before, never happened again if they all hit. But just say they do. Really, there's Tom Brady's going to be retiring. Ben Roethlisberger's got to go. Other than that, starting quarterbacks around the league, like maybe you can improve on Jalen Hurts.
Mm-hmm.
You can improve on Jared Goff.
Tua,
you could probably improve on as well. So like there might be 5 more starting quarterback jobs available over the next 15 years.
Yeah.
Like it very well could be that close. It's not bound to happen. There's bound to be injuries, bound to be a lot of drop off. But like next 10, 15 years, it could be like like 5 to 7 jobs, like max, absolutely max that open up, and it's just crazy. It's
crazy to think that Deshaun Watson and Patrick Mahomes have turned into what they have. Unfortunately, we're not able to see Deshaun Watson right now. Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson turning into what they have. Joe Burrow, Justin Herbert, them being as good as they are. There's a lot of players out there that we can mention. But when it comes to...
It's twice I just got you to get silent.
Was it in the episode, or was it off air when I talked about how I feel like Trey Lance, he looked good in relief of Jimmy Garoppolo, but I feel like in his first start, he wouldn't be as good.
I thought we talked about it on the show.
It was either on the show or maybe we're on Xbox or something. But I remember saying that, and that happened to be the case. He didn't look great on his initial start. I still think he's going to be a good player.
He probably had the best first rookie game of all the rookie quarterbacks though this year, and it wasn't even that good.
But I think we need to talk about the best rookie quarterback so far this year, Davis Mills. He is up for, I think it might be FedEx. Don't quote me. But he is up for Rookie of the Week against the likes of Jamar Chase, against the likes of Kadarius Toney. A lot of good players out there. I think Micah Parsons was one of them too. A lot of good players, and he is in that race right now because he had over 300 yards, 2 touchdowns. I don't think he had a turnover. They impressed against, I think it was New England. They were in the lead for quite a bit. New England was able to capture the game at the end, but Davis Mills, not the guy I expected to be the number 1 quarterback up to this point. Chase is dying, but it's okay.
I don't know why I'm coughing out of nowhere. I'm just sitting here. I think I'm choking at my words. I want to say so much.
There you go.
But let me get a drink of water.
Yeah, no problem. Like I was saying, Davis Mills has been a lot better than I expected. I did not think he was even going to start if it wasn't for Tyrod Taylor going out again. And how many times do we got to say that? Tyrod Taylor not being able to start, the rookie quarterback steps up and plays huge.
What I wanted to say before I started dying was I hope you enjoyed Davis Mills' show, because that's not happening again. It's just not. You watch him in the previous games, and he did not look good at all. He didn't look good anyway, and somehow it just got done. I didn't really watch a lot of this game, but somehow it got done, and it's just not going to happen again. There's not enough talent around him. He's just not ready enough. Like it's just not going to happen. I'm sorry. If I'm wrong, you can come back to this, but like I'm not going to be.
He's going up against Indy this week.
No.
I think Chris would absolutely love it. I don't even know if he's listening. He hasn't really listened that often, has he, recently?
No, he doesn't really like us anymore.
Yeah, but I would think it would be very funny if Davis Mills went off on Houston again. It'd be cool.
It would be.
But that's going to be it for our QB conversation, and we're going to talk about the Lions versus the Bengals. We're both going to be there, so that'll be fun. But before we hop into that, I want to do a special little shout-out. What did you want to say something?
Also great.
He knows. He knows.
You know? Okay.
Yes, he knows.
Okay. That's what I'm saying. Is Graham now? Okay.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure.
Yep.
But yeah, Graham and Bethany are going to be there.
Yep. Sunday night, she dropped it on him. We were playing 2 truths and 1 lie. And she put it in there.
My God.
And he goes, "That's the lie." She's like, "Nope." So it was a good reveal. And yeah, so Graham knows, he's excited, and it'll be a fun time. But before we hop over to that, special shout out. I wanted to shout it out to Graham Weaver and Andrew Traub, our 2 favorite listeners. These are 2 guys that have been listening to the show every week and have even told me that they've been listening, talking about what's actually happened in the episode. We know we got a lot of listeners out there. Well, we got a lot of a couple people out there.
We got some listeners
that like to listen and will do so. They listen to the first 30 minutes or whatever, but then something happens where they can't listen anymore. And we want to thank all of them. We want to thank all of you who are listening right now. But Graham and Andrew, they have contacted me like over the last 2 months every time an episode gets released and said, hey, I really like this point. I really didn't like this point, stuff like that. So just wanted to give them a special shout out because we know that they are still listening right now. Some people might have clicked off earlier on. That's okay. But we know they're still listening. So we wanted to give them a special shout out and tell them, we love you guys. Go ahead, Chase, say it.
No.
Say it.
We appreciate you guys.
There we go. All right, Lions versus Bengals. Two favorite teams here. Chase is a Lions guy. I'm a Bengals guy. And this one is going to be at Ford Field. I don't know what the Lions are wearing. If you see their jersey.
They're wearing jerseys.
Okay. The Bengals are wearing their all whites. I know you're a big fan of the all whites. I am too. So excited to see them in that.
I know you're talking. I don't care. If the Lions wear their like gray silvers and the Bengals wear their all whites, I'm going to puke.
Yeah, don't do that.
They might. They really might.
Don't do that. I don't. No, don't do that. Chase is gonna cough again and die again. He's still going off. I don't know what is happening over there.
I have no idea. I just started coughing out of nowhere, and then all of a sudden, like you know how you just feel it in your throat sometimes?
Yeah.
It just will not go away, no matter what I do.
You need a strawberry banana smoothie?
No, absolutely not.
All right, Lions versus Bengals. As a Bengals fan, I'm very worried about this game. Bengals currently sitting at 3-2. The Lions sitting at 0-5. The reason I am so worried as a Bengals fan is because Zach Taylor, like I said, is very conservative. He doesn't have the best play calls, and the Lions, I don't know if you've noticed, but over the past 5 weeks, they have been very, very competitive with teams, whether that be in the first half, the second half, or even the whole game. They've kept it very close, even though their roster lacks talent. So they play very hard for Dan Campbell. I'm very worried as a Bengals fan. However, this is a game that needs to be won by the Bengals if they actually want to be seen as a contender for the playoffs, as a competitor in the actual NFL. So a little bit worried, but this is a game they need to have. And if they don't, I'm going to be really sad because I'm not going to hear the end of it from you guys.
Yeah, I mean, it's a win-win for me. If the Lions win, that's fantastic. The Bengals take the L. You suck. The Bengals suck. But if the Bengals win, it confirms my point of I had them in the top 10. I do think that they're still there regardless of the loss. It confirms those points. The Lions are just closer to getting first overall, and I'm just going to be happy. And then if the Bengals win, spoiler alert, they will add to my record in our weekly picks. So I will just be happy either way.
You know what's annoying as hell?
What's that?
That the first overall pick, great, well, I mean, it's not great getting to that point, but once you have the first overall pick,
if you're at that
awesome.
point, yeah.
It's awesome to have the first overall pick. This year, it's not like the top guy, the top quarterbacks, they have not impressed whatsoever. You look at Kayvon Thibodeau, he's been injured, and so that's tough. We haven't been able to see him as much as we'd like to. Then you look at Derek Stingley, he struggled a little bit here as a junior, and like we know that Kayvon Thibodeau and Derek Stingley still have incredible talent, and they're, if they go first overall, I'll have no qualms whatsoever with it. But at this point, that first overall pick, the high draft capital, just doesn't look as appealing as it did before the start of the college football season.
No, but at the end of the day, I still want them to have their first choice at whoever they want.
Mm-hmm.
Like if they're going to,
as long as they don't go 0-17.
Yeah. Yes. Exactly. But my only thing is, they're either going to go pass rusher and go Kayvon Thibodeau or Aiden Hutchinson. It's going to be one of those two guys. If they go pass rusher, I would probably say Thibodeau, even though he's been hurt. He's just, he's got everything you want.
Yeah.
But Aiden Hutchinson has been pretty much every week the best graded pass rusher in college football this year. He's looked unreal, been fantastic. Even if he's not putting up numbers, he's getting the pressures. So if for whatever reason they went that route, I wouldn't even care because it's a Michigan guy. Like, let's push two of them, that'd be cool. But if they go like Kyle Hamilton or Derek Stingley first overall, like a defensive back first overall, that would hurt. That would really hurt after just taking one third overall a couple years ago, especially.
Yeah. And then I mean, you guys took one in the fifth round with Amani Oruwariye, who's been pretty solid. And then you take Jeff Okudah, third overall. And then this past year, you took Ifeatu Melifonwu, who, I mean...
He got hurt, so he's not really playing. But
exactly.
He was playing okay when he's playing, though.
The injury problems is the biggest concern. And I wouldn't mind as much if it is Kyle Hamilton because he plays a little bit of a different position. Unless you change Jeff Okudah to a safety, which I know you've been... I guess not rooting for, but you've mentioned it.
Like it could be done. Like I still think he might, like, he's still gonna be a perfectly fine corner. He still should be a good NFL player, no issues. But like hell, I mean, you might be able to use him as safety just because he has like the right athletic profile to do it.
Right. So I don't know. Overall, we'll just have to talk about that once we get closer to the draft. But when it comes to this Lions-Bengals game specifically, I think it's going to be a lot of fun regardless because we are going to be doing some tailgating before the actual game. I'm not sure what kind of tailgating, but I'm sure there's going to be some drinks involved and some food.
Oh, yeah.
And then the game should be fun. I want to know what you expect specifically from the two teams without giving me your actual prediction.
I would really just hope for I expect and hope for a competitive game. I want to see Burrow out there slinging it. I want to see DeAndre Swift getting the ball. I really care a lot more about the offenses in this game than the defenses. I don't think the Lions' offense or defense can compete really with they shouldn't on paper compete with anybody. But week in week out they do one way or another. Something works. With last week the defense being the one that worked, I feel like this week the offense is what's going to work. So maybe the Bengals defense gets not exposed, but faces a little bit more work than the last first 4 or 5 weeks. I would much rather see an offensive game than a defensive game, and that's just kind of my feeling anyway.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a close game that maybe ends in like a, 23-17 or 23-20 fashion, something like that.
What's the spread on it?
3.5.
That's it?
The Bengals are favored by 3.5.
Wow, interesting.
So I think it'll probably be a close game. I think there might be a point where the Bengals get out to a big lead, but because of the lack of killer mentality from Zach Taylor and because of the fact that Dan Campbell and the Lions team go so hard and are able to keep games close, I think it might get scary towards the end for me as a Bengals fan. However, and Lions fans, cover your ears on this, I sure hope to hell that the Bengals kick the shit out of the Lions. This is a Lions team that is more competitive than their actual roster says, which is very similar to the Brian Flores point when he initially took over the Dolphins, a team on paper that doesn't look great, but is doing a lot better than what we expected. But if this Bengals team is real, if Chase has them in his top 10, if a bunch of other people in the power rankings have them in their top 12, this is a game they need to win and win by at least a touchdown. So I'm hoping that happens. I think it's going to be close, though.
They don't need to murder him in order to confirm my thoughts on him. They just need to look good, win the game, and not show too many signs of weakness anywhere, and they'll be just fine. I don't think it's impossible that they could win by 2-3 touchdowns. I really don't. Anybody could beat the Lions by any given night. Mm-hmm. Hell, even the Houston Texans or the Jacksonville Jaguars probably could. But I don't think the Bengals need to do that either. As long as they win the game and it's not really sloppy, I'm still gonna feel the same way I do.
The one thing I am happy about going into this game is you mentioned the injuries that the Lions have in their secondary. The Bengals are now healthy at the wide receiver spot. They have T. Higgins, Jamar Chase, and Tyler Boyd.
They're one of the least injured teams in the league. They're in the bottom 3 for IR players.
Now they are for sure.
Yeah.
2-3 weeks ago, we had a bunch of injuries with Jesse Bates, Chidobe
Awuzie.
Yep. And then T. Higgins, a couple other players. Joe Mixon was out for a little bit. But either way, we are now healthy. The Lions have a beat-up secondary. We need to take advantage of that. Zach Taylor needs to be a good play caller and actually do something here.
Yeah, well, we shall see. We shall see.
Before we go into the actual preview of games, I did want to go back to the coaching issue. I mentioned a name just recently that I totally forgot to mention when we came up to that point, and that was Brian Flores. Johnny told me that there was some concern in the Dolphins locker room about Brian Flores overall as a coach. And then I see Tua, his trainer, came out and said, Not exactly, but he was kind of alluding to the point of, you think he's hard to communicate with. Think about how hard it is to actually play for him. He might have lost the locker room. The team's now 1-4. Brian Flores, from everything I've seen up to this point, I have absolutely loved him. I think he's a good coach. But now that I'm hearing these little rumblings, I'm starting to get a little concerned, especially because they are sitting at 1-4.
Yeah, I wonder how much that is really true. And they're 1-4 because of, like, you know, Reed's not went in at quarterback last week. That's the reason they're 1-4. That's where they're down to. And like they're facing injuries, and even with Tua, you know, like, I was more skeptical on them than the rest of you guys were this year. And like even with Tua, they were still kind of looking underwhelming. It could be a Brian Flores thing, but I don't know, the way the team looked, you know, the previous 2 seasons under Brian Flores, I really would have a hard time believing that things just went south that quickly. But I guess, you know, when you're 1-4, when you're not expecting to be as bad as they are, and, you know, they definitely didn't expect them to be where I had them. They expected to be a playoff team. And when they're at this point now, you know, frustrations, things can kind of boil over pretty quickly. So who knows, maybe things changed.
Well, the one thing that I am concerned about is I get the Tua concern, how you weren't sure on Tua, think it could be a bad team. But the defense has always been great. And the defense is still creating turnovers, which is awesome. But they're not holding people to the limited amount of points that they did last year. The defense hasn't been as good. The quarterback situation is gotten a lot worse from last year because Ryan Fitzpatrick, you had him as your number 1. You had Tua as your number 2. Now you don't have Tua at all, and you got Jacoby Brissett as your number 1. That's bad. So I get that the offense has struggles, but the defense has even looked worse. So I don't know. I thought I'd bring it up, the Brian Flores concern. We'll have to keep an eye on it going forward, but it was definitely very shocking to me when Johnny came up to me and told me that some people on the inside of the organization are saying Brian Flores is the issue, not the actual roster.
Who does Johnny know inside the Dolphins organization?
I don't know. I don't know where he got his information, but then I did look up that Tua's trainer within the gym of whatever gym he goes to. They've got a Twitter page, and they were tweeting out stuff along the lines of maybe he's lost the locker room. So
interesting.
Even if Johnny was wrong, there is some stuff that is actually close to the situation, tweeting stuff out like that. So we'll have to keep an eye on that, but we're going to move over to our locks of the week. Going to be looking at some of the games. Let's start with Thursday night's game. Oh, we should go over our last week, shouldn't we?
Yeah, we might no, we don't have to, actually.
Yeah. Week 5, Chase and I struggled a little bit. Well, Chase did specifically. He sucked.
We had the same record.
Shh, you don't got to say that. Both of us went 10-6. Graham 12-4. Chris 12-4. Johnny 14-2. Garrett 12-4. And then Vegas, they went 13-3 based on their odds.
I think that was the first time I didn't beat Vegas.
I think, yeah, Vegas went off.
Yeah, they did a good job this week. The only one to beat him this week was Johnny.
Let me go back and look here for you. 7-9, you beat him then.
7-9 1 week. Oh wow.
Yeah, in week 3 they went 7-9. Same with week 1.
Wow.
So yeah, that's the first week that you didn't beat Vegas, and I think same with me.
That's crazy. 7-9. See,
yeah,
you would expect them to be 13-3 because like it's their job is to handicap these games. Like these guys are making casinos or losing casinos money based on these lines.
So that would put you and Garrett tied for first place at 53-27.
Gross.
Graham and I tied for second at 50-30. Tied for third, technically. Chris and Johnny tied for fifth at 49-31. And then Vegas 48-32 right now. So a very close competition going here. Let's head over to week 6. And I got to say, I got to preface with this. Some of the Vegas odds that I've seen, a little weird. I'm not going to lie. A little weird. I was like, that seems like it could be wrong.
Make sure to read the lines. I don't have them right in front of me.
Will do. All right, you got Tampa Bay at Philly. Tampa is the favorite, +7.
Yeah.
Or -7.
Yeah. Yes.
Does that mean Tampa?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Then you got Cincinnati at Detroit. Cincinnati is favored by 3.5.
Also, yes. Cincinnati's going to win that game, and they will cover.
Miami at Jacksonville. Miami's a 3.5
I'm assuming you're
favorite.
taking Cincinnati in that game as well.
Yes, I am.
Okay. And I'm assuming you're taking Tampa Bay as well.
Yes, I am.
All right, so you said Miami and Jacksonville. Miami's what?
3.5 point favorite.
This is a gross game.
It is. I'm so glad that I'll be at the Bengals-Lions game because I won't be watching this.
What? So 2 weeks in a row of horrible London games.
Yeah.
Horrible London games. There's never been 2 winning record teams playing in London. Just brutal. And yet again, it's happening. Jacksonville's going to get their first win of the season.
No, they won't. Miami's going to take this one. I tried to go spicy last week with New York over Atlanta. Didn't work. It's not going to work for you either. Trust me.
It probably won't. I'm not watching the game. I don't care. I like Jacksonville's my second favorite team. I'm not watching this game.
I probably should have put that one first, but I figured because Cincinnati Detroit is going to be so big in our friend group, I figured I'd put that one too.
Should have saved it for last, and we should just like cut off the show as we were like giving our predictions so they couldn't hear.
Yeah, for sure. All right, Kansas City at Washington. Kansas City, a 7-point favorite.
I mean, if Washington was looking like I expected them to, then I would say, you know what? Let's go Washington here. But there's no chance in hell I would even think about taking Washington until they I don't care who they play, until they show me something worth taking them.
Yep, I agree. All right, L.A. Rams at the New York Giants. The Rams are a 10.5-point favorite.
Congrats on covering L.A.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Not because of the Giants' defense, because of the Giants' offense. Mike Glennon's
Kadarius Toney's elite.
Mike Glennon's going to be the quarterback.
Kadarius Toney's still elite.
Devontae Booker's going to be the running back.
Elite.
Kenny Galladay probably still won't play. Sterling Shepard might not play either. It's literally Kadarius Toney.
And Darius Slayton is out.
Yeah, it's literally Kadarius Toney. And if Evan Ingram playing, it doesn't matter, actually. Sorry, I shouldn't have even said his name.
You know what's crazy?
What?
I've got Evan Ingram on my dynasty team in Johnny's league, and I haven't started him. I don't want to, obviously. But there has been 2 weeks where a tight end from the same draft class has put up over 20 points, and he's been irrelevant. David Njoku. He's been on fire.
I know he needs to get used more. I don't know why he's used so little. Like the signing of Austin Hooper was a terrible signing.
Agreed.
And Njoku needs to be used more. And with Evan Ingram, if I'm not mistaken, he has like the most like ever receiving yards for a tight end in their first like however many seasons it was. Like that just shows like how disappointing he is, because like he's still obviously a good NFL tight end, and like but isn't gonna find the end zone with that type of offense, so his upside's limited. But like he gets the targets, he gets the receiving yards. It's just he was astronomically ranked. I don't know what the words I'm looking for is. He had these crazy high expectations and just horribly underwhelmed.
A lot of targets. Just the question is, will he catch them? As of right now, there's a lot of times where that answer is no.
Eric Ebron style.
Houston at Indianapolis. Indianapolis, a 9.5-point favorite.
Yeah, Indy's going to win this one.
I've got Indy as well. Green Bay at Chicago. Chicago is a 4.5-point underdog. Tricked you on that one.
Yeah, you did at first. Well, I'll say what? Yeah, I'm going to go Green Bay in this one.
Okay.
There was a little bit of thought maybe I can go Chicago, but then I remember I don't want to bet on Matt Nagy.
Yeah. I wouldn't be shocked if Chicago took this one with their defense, but how their offense is playing right now with Matt Nagy and Justin Fields, it hasn't been as exciting as I was hoping for. Let's now move over to the LA Chargers at Baltimore Ravens. Who do you think the favorite is in this one?
I'm going to say the Chargers are.
The Baltimore Ravens are a 3-point favorite against the LA Chargers.
Placing some money in this game on Sunday because the Chargers are going to win this bad boy. That's a game that I'm going to have pulled up on my phone while we're at the Lions game because I'm going to want to watch this one. It should be a pretty fun game. So those of you that can see it, that's great. If I wish it could be flexed, into the night game, because the night game is looking like a really ugly matchup right now. We'll talk about it when we get there. But if this could have been like the 8 o'clock game, oh man.
And you're taking the Chargers, I assume.
Yeah, they're gonna upset. Yes.
Hey, I think that the Chargers should have been the favorite. Baltimore, I get that they've looked good. They had a big comeback against the Indianapolis Colts. Lamar Jackson has looked better than expected, but Justin Herbert right now is the MVP in my mind. Brandon Staley looks phenomenal, looking like the coach of the year, and this Chargers team has just been on fire. So that is one of the odds that I told you. Was like, I'm not really sure how I'm feeling about this.
Yeah, I get that.
Minnesota at Carolina. This could be another one. Minnesota is a 1-point favorite.
Carolina's winning this game, so I don't know why they're Minnesota's favorite. Minnesota doesn't even look that good. Carolina, I know they looked bad against the Eagles, but they looked good in every other game. Even against Cowboys, where they struggled, they still look at least solid. Yeah, like they're a good team that is coached well. They're gonna work the Vikings. The Vikings barely beat the Lions,
and it seems like Christian McCaffrey is going to be back this week.
Yeah, and like game over.
So I've got Carolina as well for this one. This next game we're going to be talking about, a game I have yet to decide who I want, who I am putting my money on. And another game where I'm thinking the odds are a little bit strange here. You've got the undefeated Arizona Cardinals at the Cleveland Browns.
Are the Browns favorites?
Cleveland Browns are favored by 3 points.
Wow.
Yeah.
Like, I think it's going to be a close game, a tough fought game. And, like, I would not be surprised if the Browns win this one. I would not be surprised if the Cardinals win this one. The Cardinals got to lose at some point, too. They're not going to. They're not going
undefeated. That's for sure.
They're not going undefeated. There's just no chance. But I really don't think it's going to be this week. Baker has looked questionable all season. Looked a little better last week. Yeah. Still, not getting the ball to OBJ. So sucks for you OBJ owners. But offensively, it's just really not it right now for the Browns. Like, they could be performing a lot better. Defense is still great. As the Cardinals, it's all kind of performing so well. Until I see it start to falter, I can't really bet against them. So I got to go with the Cardinals.
That is one I didn't pick until now, and I agree. I think that Chandler Jones, J.J. Watt, and that defense is going to be able to scare Baker Mayfield just a little bit to the point where he's not on the top of his game. And if Kyler Murray's on the top of his game, he's going to be able to find the holes in Cleveland's defense. So I'm going to have to go Arizona.
Yeah, there's only 3-4 o'clock games. I feel like that's low.
There is 2 buys.
That is true.
You've only got 14 games this week.
That is true.
Yep. That's one thing we talked about last year. We talked about how there's still, even when there's buys, there's still like 8 games in the 1 o'clock time frame, but only like 2 or 3. Like, that was one thing that annoyed us last week. It doesn't seem like it's changed.
Yeah, there's 7 1 o'clock games, 3 4 o'clock games, the Monday game, Thursday night, Sunday night, Monday night.
All right, let's move on to Las Vegas at Denver, an AFC West showdown. Denver is favored by 3.5.
Yeah.
You rolling with your Raiders?
I really don't know. I don't know how much is going to change with a new coach in place. I don't think it's going to be a whole lot because it's like an internal hire and it's a special teams guy, so it's not like it's an OC or DC that wants to do their thing, So I think the Raiders' offense is going to be pretty similar. Maybe they'll actually throw the ball to Bryan Edwards more. Maybe they'll actually just let Josh Jacobs handle the carries. Maybe they'll actually use their players the right way. Who knows? I don't know. But I don't feel good enough to take the Raiders. I'm gonna go with the Broncos. I want to choose the Raiders. I do, but like I just don't feel good enough about it.
See, I would have been completely fine with you taking the Raiders because I took Denver in this one, and it came down to the same exact thing as last week for the Jags. A lot of dysfunction around the locker room and the coaching position specifically leading up to this week that I'm not confident that the team with the dysfunction is going to be able to pull it out. That's why I went Denver, even though it seemed like they've kind of, after their undefeated start, they've kind of been a little bit lax, not as good. I still think they beat a dysfunctional team.
Yeah, that's pretty much where I'm at.
Dallas at New England. You're not going to be able to guess the favorites on this one.
Are you saying to trick me?
I don't know, am I?
I'm going to choose Dallas.
Dallas is the favorite by 4.
Screw you.
By only 4, though.
Yeah, and they will cover. Like, I dropped the I thought about keeping the Cowboys defense in this game, and my one league rep defense, I ended up dropping them, and I boldly went with the Jags defense. Little icky, but I'm gonna plant my flag, take a chance in that game. The Dolphins offense has nothing going for it, so. I think the Cowboys defense has a chance to, to shut down the Patriots. But I think it will be a close game. The Cowboys might cover, the Cowboys might not cover. I don't know. Maybe I'll lean them covering just in case. But I was ready to just be full in on them covering. Then I thought about it a little bit in my head there and thought maybe it'll be closer. I don't know. Cowboys are gonna win though.
I think this could be a hot take. I think Dallas blows the Patriots out of the water. I feel like when you look at every team in the NFL up to this point, Dallas is that one team you could say has never had a bad game. I mean, you could argue it, but at the same time, their only loss is to Tampa Bay, where they took Tampa Bay to the brink. Like, I feel like there's just no real weakness with this team right now. The defense is playing outstanding. The offense is top 5 in the league.
I would say Arizona hasn't had a bad game. Their first half against Jacksonville was underwhelming, but like
this past week was kind of they struggled against San Francisco.
Yeah,
their offense couldn't move the ball.
Yeah, but they look so good offensively that I think it made up for it.
So either way, Dallas is one of 2 teams then.
Yeah,
that hasn't had a bad game.
Yeah, the Lions as well.
What?
Yeah, the Lions are close in every game, man, except for the Packers.
Yeah, and the Bengals this week.
We'll see.
All right, Seattle at Pittsburgh, the Sunday night game, the game you're most looking forward to this weekend. Can you guess the favorite on this one? What are we thinking?
Pittsburgh.
Pittsburgh is favored by
1.5.
5.
5, that's a lot.
Yeah. So you're taking Pittsburgh?
Yeah, I actually am.
Ooh, okay.
And I don't like it. It might finish 7-3.
Mm-hmm.
It's not going to be fun to watch. I hope there's good hockey on.
Yeah, I've got Seattle in this one. I just think that when you look at the 2 quarterbacks, big difference. Just will the defense of Seattle be able to stop Big Ben? I feel like any defense could stop Big Ben, but at the same time, Denver had a struggle bus with the Pittsburgh Steelers and Najee Harris specifically.
I think it's going to be such a heavy run game where it really comes down to, Najee versus whoever is going to be getting the ball for Seattle, whether it's Chris Carson, Alex Collins, who knows. And, Najee could have another 100-yard game in them. I think that's very much in their own possibility where I don't know if the Seahawks run for 100 total yards. I'm
going to say this right now so that next week, if this happens, I can take credit for it and say that I am the reason the Pittsburgh Steelers won. If the Pittsburgh Steelers want to win this game, run heavy and don't let Russ get the ball. If you control the clock, if you take all of let's say it's 40 minutes to 20 minutes.
You say don't let Russ get the ball?
Yeah.
He's not playing.
Oh.
It's Geno Smith.
Oh, yeah. That's true. Okay, then I'm going Pittsburgh. I was wondering why the spread was so big, and then I didn't even think about that injury. Okay, well then I'll still say it. Don't let Geno Smith get the ball because DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett can make your life hell.
Yeah.
So if they control at least 40 minutes of the clock, that's a win for them easily.
Oh, that's funny. That's funny.
How long is Russ out?
I think it's like 4 to 6 weeks at least.
Boo.
I think week 10 was like the minimum.
Yeah, I've got a Seattle Seahawks fan in my family, but he doesn't actually pay attention to football, so
that's fair.
I don't usually get the Seahawk updates. Totally forgot about that. But let's move on to Monday Night Football. We got Buffalo at Tennessee, with Tennessee being the underdog at 5.5.
Yes. Obviously. The Bills have shown, too much at this point. Like I really
you're
what?
You're not a fan of the Bills or Josh Allen anymore.
I said power rankings. They're my top 3. They're not number 3.
And you are the biggest Derrick Henry on the planet of Earth now. Over Alec.
I'm the biggest Derrick Henry on the planet of Earth.
Derrick Henry fan.
I am choosing
over Alec. You like him more than Alec right now.
The Bills are winning this game and covering.
Interesting.
Yes.
Well, I got the same thing.
Yes.
So that means we only have one difference now because you decided to go Denver.
And you decided to change from Seattle.
Well, it's not my fault that I forgot that their star quarterback, a top 5 quarterback in the league, got injured.
Well, maybe you should remember next time. Maybe it kind of is your fault you forgot.
Yeah, maybe I should, but guess what? I didn't, so it's not my fault. How about that?
Clown.
How about that?
Clown.
How about that?
Clown.
I'm excited to watch the Bengals-Detroit game. Bengals in white, Lions and hopefully
Silver.
all blue. All blue.
No, I want the Lions to just randomly show up in black with blue lettering. Just like,
okay.
Let the NFL fine them. Let's wear those jerseys out there that don't exist. Let the NFL fine them for not being a first jersey. I don't care.
Does this week end yet again with Dan Campbell crying on the podium?
Maybe. If they lose again, maybe. If they lose again, I don't even know what he's gonna say. Like, the NFL makes coaches do these press conferences after game. Like it's like they're obligated to like CBA contractually all the stuff.
Unless like Andy Reid, he has like a health issue.
Yeah,
but yeah.
So they're obligated to do it. So he's gonna have no choice. But like, I really wish he didn't have to go out there every week because at some point, like, he's gonna run out of things to say. Like there's like we expect this to happen. They're losing in these just annoying ways, and like we expect him to lose anyway. Like he really doesn't have much to say. Like he could have run out of things to say by this week, and I wouldn't be surprised, and I wouldn't blame him. I really wouldn't.
Oh, and I forgot. I downloaded a new sound clip.
Okay.
And it's specifically about Zach Taylor and the Bengals and how Zach Taylor just the worst play caller on planet Earth.
Let's hear it.
Life is pain.
Nope, that's not the right one.
Strike one.
Which one's the right one? I think it's this one.
You can't keep getting away with it.
My God.
That's how I feel. That is how I feel. He cannot keep getting away with this. Fire his ass. We'll have to see what he can do against the Lions here. But that's going to do it for the show. Chase, any final words to the people?
Thanks.
All right. Well, that's going to do it for the show. If you want to stay up to date with all that we do, you can follow us on Twitter at WNP Sports Pod. That's again on Twitter at WNP Sports Pod. We also have a Facebook group and an Instagram page that you can follow as well to stay up to date with us on the different social media platforms. Maybe you're not a big Twitter user. That's totally fine. We've got other options there for you. If you are listening on YouTube, if you could please give us a like, comment, subscribe. Let us know what you think about our picks this week. And I know there's a lot of Lions fans listening, so let me know what you think about the Lions-Bengals game. Put it down there in the comments. And then if you could, turn on the bell to turn on notifications. YouTube will let you know when we're coming out with a new episode. If you are listening on a podcast platform, if you could please give us a follow and a 5-star rating, we would really appreciate that. And that's going to do it for the show. Thank you so much for listening. And as always, we're not professionals.